In this video, we'll be going over the Settings tab. Let's get started. From the Gradelink dashboard, select the Settings tab. In the same way that a full administrator can limit the tools that limited administrators have access to, a full administrator can also limit what tools teachers and families have access to using the teacher and parent-student pages, respectively. The rows of options at the top of the Teacher panel enable and disable different areas of Gradelink for teachers, including access to progress reports, report cards, and emergency contacts. One setting administrators should normally avoid enabling is Edit Concluded Classes. Concluding classes is equivalent to submitting final grades, so outside of rare cases, this should stay disabled. If you think you may need to use it, please consult your account representative first. Below, Limit Concluded Grade Averages allows administrators to set a limit on the highest achievable class grade. For example, if the concluded grade average was set to 100%, then even if a student received extra credit, their grade would still only appear as 100%. Enable access to student discipline information is a setting that needs to be active if a school wants to grant teachers access to discipline information for their students. By default, this will only let teachers view discipline reports. If you'd like your teachers to be able to submit their own, make sure to check the box directly below it too. The last major setting on the teacher page that administrators should be aware of is Prevent Changes to Assignment Types. Some schools weigh different types of assignments in very specific ways, and this setting allows administrators to lock assignment types once they've been set up. Teachers who haven't configured their assignment types will be prompted to do so before they can access other areas of the account, so if a class is created after the setting is enabled, you may need to temporarily disable it. Just like the teacher page, the parent-student page lets administrators enable or disable various features specifically for parent and student accounts. Attendance alerts and academic alerts give parents the ability to configure custom email alerts based on their students' grades and attendance. Published report cards gives parents access to report cards that have been published online by the school. Administrators have the option to lock all student and parent accounts. When active, this locks all student and parent accounts and furthermore blocks grade or attendance alerts. The setting can be useful when schools go on break for long periods of time and want to make changes to their database behind the scenes. Show Discipline on Parent Interface controls the visibility of the discipline interface for parent accounts. Additionally, administrators can determine whether or not discipline incidents should be able to trigger email alerts just like attendance and grades. The Date Time page is where you'll control things like what days of the week attendance can be taken for, as well as date formatting and your school's time zone, although many of these settings are configured for you during the implementation process. The General panel includes everything from attendance to school news, but there are a handful of settings that all administrators should become familiar with. Schools that make use of the Sports Eligibility Report can set a minimum GPA value as well as restrict the types of letter grades that a potential player can have. Similarly, schools that make use of credit-no-credit classes will want to set a minimum passing grade that students need to earn in order to receive credit. Use daily attendance and use class attendance enable daily attendance and class attendance respectively. Below attendance are 3 temporary settings. Temporarily allow deletion of students or classes, temporarily allow changes to classes after the first term, and temporarily allow early copying of classes. These settings enable changes that Gradelink doesn't normally allow. As a result, they only stay active for 30 minutes before needing to be reactivated. Because they deal with sensitive information, we highly recommend contacting your account representative before enabling these settings. Near the bottom of the panel, you'll see 2 settings related to class population. Allow a student to be populated into identically titled classes, and allow a student to be populated into multiple classes per period. These settings affect the class population process and allow students to be added to classes they normally wouldn't be able to. If your school would like custom landing pages for staff and teachers, administrators should enable school news and teacher pages. The school news page is a place for staff to make posts that are visible to teachers and families, while teacher pages allow teachers to create a unique homepage for each class they teach. We'll skip over the marketing and calendar tabs to look at standards. When we were configuring standards on the classes page, we were only changing settings for one class. Here, we can change the default settings for every class that uses standards. There are several additional buttons that contain features too specific to be included in the above pages. In your school profile, you're able to fill in information such as your school's address and phone number, as well as contact information for the principal and other staff members. Furthermore, Gradelink can include links to social media accounts and display them on reports as a header or a footer. Some schools use numbered comments, which refers to numbers on the report card that correspond to preset comments. While these are typically added during the implementation process, if you'd like to edit any of them, you can do so by hitting the Numbered Comments button. Outside of the Settings tab, there's another feature you might not have noticed, the Show Concluded Classes button. On pages such as the grade sheet or the attendance sheet, where you can select classes using a menu at the top of the page, you will see a small blue clock button on the right. This button allows the user to toggle between viewing only unconcluded classes in the active term and viewing all classes, even concluded classes, from all terms. That wraps up our discussion on Gradelink settings. Join us for the final video in the Admin Training series, where we talk about how to get help if you have any questions about Gradelink.